Thank you for welcoming me onto your screens or onto your headphones, depending on how you're watching this. I'm Eddie, and this is The Rollback. Folks, I'm here to talk to you today about the Pale Blue Eyes, aka NyQuil. That's kind of unfair. I liked it. The synopsis. So, a veteran detective by the name of Augustus Landor is brought in to investigate some very grisly crimes, and he's helped by a young cadet who will eventually become the world-famous author, Edgar Allan Poe. So, this movie, right off the bat, it's not for everyone. It is very much, I want to say, an Oscar bait movie. It is very much it's an old man movie. And I mean that in the nicest way possible. I liked it personally. But it's an old man movie in the sense of they talk in Old English, sort of. It's very slow. It's very methodical. It's not like you're very quick, movie. Because bear in mind, there are detective movies that can be fast. There are detective movies that can be middling. And this detective movie is very much slow. It's interesting. I found it super interesting, but I understand it is not everyone's cup of tea by any stretch of the imagination. So I'll start with the pros. So I never really considered the concept of an old school murder investigation. Because nowadays when you think of a murder investigation, what do you think of? Well, fingerprints, hair samples, technologically tracking people. Where were you investigating? But at the time, it was so basic. You just had to pick the smartest guy in the room and say, hey, can you check this out and tell us who the murderer is, with very few clues. So for that, I give it credit. I've never really thought about wanting to watch an old school investigation film. So for that, props. Also, I'll be honest with you, I was never a huge Edgar Allan Poe fan, but I gotta be honest with you, after watching this, okay, fair enough. I kind of like the guy a little more now. It's like with any good movie that features someone theoretically famous. You hopefully like the person more after the fact if they're portrayed in a way that you find favorable. For example, I liked Elvis more after I saw the movie Elvis. I became a bit more of a Queen fan after I saw Bohemian Rhapsody. So in that same instance, when you watch a film about someone, you hopefully begin to like them and hear the story because you have a sense of who they are. That's your snapshot of them. From now on, whenever I think of Edgar Allan Poe, I'm going to think of Dudley. Which also, good for you, Dudley. I'm proud of you. You moved on from Harry Potter. I wouldn't mind a reunion if you want to do one with Daniel Radcliffe, but nonetheless, good for you, kid. I thought you played the part pretty damn well. Very soft-spoken, very manneristic. And I mean that as a compliment. Also, Christian Bale is in this film. He actually plays Detective Landor, and he is top-notch as always. It's what you expect from him. Again, I think this was attempting to be an Oscar bait film. It didn't get any nominations, as far as I'm aware. It didn't get any Golden Globe nominations. I know that. It was trying. I think it failed. I think Netflix is trying to get more Oscar bait films out between All Quiet on the Western Front, Blonde, and this. It feels like they're trying to go more in that route, which props to them. They're trying something different. And again, I was a fan of this film. I understand not a lot of people are, but I was. Also, that ending twist, I did not see it coming. I'll get to why some people may not like that twist in a moment. But nonetheless, the twist ending, loved it. Christian Bale's great. It's a poetic ending. It's not a happy ending, but it's the ending that should happen, I suppose. So the cons. Again, very slow film. Not everyone's going to like it. I called it a nighttime medication. What was it called? NyQuil. I called it NyQuil. I made that joke because my father-in-law, when I recommended it to my in-laws, he said, I've tried watching that movie 3 different times, and every time I knock out in the first 10 minutes. So, there's that. I trust his taste in movies. He recommended The Outfit, and that was a pretty damn good film. That said, though, again, this movie is not made for everybody. In addition to that, I'm going to go ahead and... Spoiler alert, if you want to jump forward maybe 30 seconds, because I'm about to give a spoiler. Now, so the movie presents the killings as ritualistic, demonic in nature, or done as a sacrifice. Not necessarily that there are ghosts involved, but they're facing the occult. That is not the case. So it's under the guise of the occult, but the initial murder actually happens because Christian Bale is trying to get revenge on some cadets that raped his daughter. They sexually assaulted her. She couldn't bear it, and jumped off a cliff, committing suicide. So this is essentially a revenge tale from the father's perspective. And he kills these 3 guys. Now, on one side of the coin, like, this lucky son of a bitch has a cult, a family of occultists that happen to be like, hey, you know what? They got a spare body over there. Let's get the heart out. Let's cure this other person of her, I want to say schizophrenia? Not schizophrenia. There's another word for it. Epilepsy. Because she has seizures. Now, that said, though, I can also understand where people will argue, oh, the trope of the woman in the refrigerator. You know, oh, she died to give him motivation. And people are kind of tired of that trope, which I can understand that. Is that a step backwards? It could be. It depends on how you view it. Personally, I like to see it as a revenge flick, but I understand the other side of the coin where people say we're tired of women being killed as motivation. I get it. I'm not arguing that. Doesn't work for everybody. Fully understand. Again, that said though, personally, I was on board with the film. I thought it gave him a great motivation. I thought it made sense why this rigid military man was drunk, depressed, like he was just not in a good headspace. And it was because, quite simply, he missed his daughter and he took revenge of the guys that harmed her. And I can't blame him for that. On a fundamental level, I understand you. That said, though, this movie, I am going to give it a B. Again, I really enjoyed it, but I understand why other people won't. Will I go back to watch it? Doubt it. I mean, again, it'd make a good background film, but I remember all the plot details. So, I don't know if I'll go back and watch it again, but who knows? Maybe down the road. That said, though, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of The Rollback. Please like and subscribe. We'd greatly appreciate it. We're always trying to grow this channel. Once we get to 50 subscribers, I don't know what we're going to do. Maybe we'll do a stream. I don't know. That said, I've been Eddie, and this was The Rollback. We'll see you, everyone.